Hello, hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Namaste, welcome to my channel. And I hope you guys can hear me and everything is fine today as we are about to discuss a ton of new things. So, who is ready and who is excited? Because I am very ready and very excited to delve straight into this. Wow, allow gift. What is that? All right. So let us begin straight out by doing a little bit of meditation, which is Guru Dhyan. So sit in, I think my head space is a little compromised, and I don't particularly want to get to my sofa because my cats have scratched on it, but let's just get going. So, Guru, Vegi Mudra, and I'm wearing a beautiful copper sari today. Again, a Kanchivaram sari, and it is indeed the color of the sun. So, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Now, we are about to experience some of the craziest astrology this season, right now, this year. And this has been building for a while with the upcoming eclipse. Of course, we've just had an eclipse, and that kind of shook us up in Libra, in Swati Nakshatra. And now we are gearing up towards an eclipse in Bharani Nakshatra. Now, we'll get to the eclipse update in another video, all right? In another video, because today we are going to concentrate mostly on Mars retrograde. So, I regularly do a little bit of research on, mathematics, particle physics, not because I'm a great mathematician. It's because I never got the opportunity to develop my interest in the sciences, in mathematics or in physics, because I was poor at math, and that kind of immediately cut off all the other avenues that I was really interested in, like cosmology, right? Like the how physicists try to understand the world. And I've been doing some interesting research when it comes to a concept called Lagrangian mechanics. And why am I talking to you about Lagrangian mechanics right now? Tis because this particular thing deals with action, right? Action. And when we talk about action, we cannot deduct Mars from the equation. And Mars RX, Mars RX. This is Mars out of bound. This is intro Mars, that is lunar eclipse. And this is speech 2. So all of this is channeled. It's not, I can't copy paste or keep it in my iPad, just because I like to write it down when I meditate and when I think about the upcoming astrological events. It's not just about studying the chart, but it is about letting the planets or the nakshatras speak to me. So that is a huge part of the way I do astrology. So I felt like introducing this Lagrangian mechanics to you today just because physics, right now, is now discussing something that could be more fundamental than energy and entropy. Entropy is disharmony and perhaps of time itself. So when we speak about fundamental than energy as in, when we move, energy plus momentum, the E equals to mc squared, right? So now this particular concept that they're working on is that there is something more fundamental than possibly time, possibly energy, possibly entropy. Because entropy is ultimately Shiva energy, dissolution. It is what will destroy the universal cycle. So they have discovered that there is something called the principle of least distance. And when I came across this concept, the first thing I thought is that the principle of least distance, okay, that means that action by itself is extremely efficient in the universe, and the path charted out is actually one that is least distance, that has the least distance. Now, I kind of correlated this principle of least distance is karma. It's karma. It's how you act. What is movement? But not guided by karma, right? Why do we move? Why do we do certain things? So, fundamentally, Mars has something to do with karma. I've told you how Mars in the lower vibration is war, bloodlust, and sex and all that. But Mars in the higher vibration is Sanat Kumara or Kartikeya, the younger brother of Ganpati. That's why Ganpati is known as Skanda Purvajaya. So, principle of least distance. When light travels, it follows the most efficient path. So, for instance, I have to go from A point to B point, right? So, there is the straight line path, there is a curved path, there are infinite possibilities of how I can get from A to B. But universally, in a primordial action state, I am aligned to take the principle of least distance. But this may not always work out perfectly. So A to B, right? But what if in the middle there is some kind of sludgy pathway? Whereby if I go in a straight line, my time taken can be more. So what is most efficient? Is it the least distance or is it the least time taken by a particle like us? Okay, we see we have to go. Mars is action, so we feel compelled to take action. So from A point to B point we want to go. Could be doing a homam, doing a tarpan, doing a puja, doing 11 malas of japa. Let's keep it spiritual. So that is the action you want to take. So there is the straight line, least distance, like quickly you do it, and then there is the least time. Is there, as I've already told you, that it doesn't matter how many japas you do in the middle, in the end. Ultimately, it is all about the right bhava. Without the right bhava, you may be doing 10,000 japas a day, but you will never benefit. The same way that one person may do one mala, but with true understanding of what they are doing, feeling what they are doing. So I'm talking about the least distance and the least time and Lagrangian mechanics, because when Mars, the principle of action, is called into question like this, as of today it's in shadow. It was in shadow already pretty much this whole month. And now it is going to turn retrograde. So this is, as I told you, that direct retrograde, they may hold their energy, but stationary planets, and Mars is out of bound. So Mars is like a planet on steroids. So the action we take is going to be fundamental to our existence. And the action you take not only carries through this life, but through many lives. So why not understand the fundamental action principle? All right, why not try and understand the world at a quantum level, as well as what the scientists are discovering? So this is known as the minimizing principle. I told you you have to go from A point to B point, right? You take the least distance. right? The principle of least distance. And this is the minimizing principle. So you figure out a way to do something efficiently and you minimize your, say, you have to read a chapter and memorize it. But maybe you discover certain key traits to memorization and then you sit down to read it. Then the way you will understand that chapter and be able to remember it will be unlike that time when you have not concentrated and you read it 10 times, but it still just doesn't get in. So applying Chin Mudra, you do pranayam, and then you have some memory tricks that you apply and you learn that chapter. What do you see in there? That, fine, I am retaining this. So retention is of course a very important assimilation, integration, retention. Important aspects of action, all right? We take an action and then we have to wait a certain period to understand the repercussions. Or I started my japa today, I did 100 malas. Oh, I mean, I'm done, right? No. Can I take a month of food and stuff it down your throat in one day or maybe a few hours? You won't like it. You won't be able to take it. You will be sick. It is the same thing, right, with spirituality. So, minimizing principle, we have to figure out, not only we, in fact, subatomic particles have figured out this minimizing principle. So, why don't we apply this? How can we minimize something? And this is not avoiding or shirking or not doing it, right? You have to go from A point to B point, right? But why not take the least distance? Maybe that'll work, right? Will it? Now, when we think of action and movement, right, we take its velocity in count. We look at the kinetic, the vector positions, momentum, all of this we take into account. Energy, we understand as momentum. Why are you so slothful? You know, where's your energy? Your boss tells you that in office. Why? Because you're possibly sitting quietly and typing. And your boss is like, you know, where's your energy? So people understand energy as momentum, a kinetic possibility. Right? A kinetic movement, dynamic, dynamism. Energy is dynamism. Now, when we think of the kinetic movement, energy, and the potential energy, something has its potential energy. Like I'm sitting here, I have the potential energy to do 100 malas of Uchishta Ganpati mantra. That's my potential energy. And what is my kinetic energy? That I take the mala from there and I start doing japa. Right? Kinetic energy, right? Movement. Now, in Lagrangian mechanics, he says it's a very interesting idea that the kinetic energy minus the potential energy, right? But that is only for bodies with mass, you and me. But what about light? Right? Light has no mass that we can hold or we can confine in a bottle. Everything in the universe happens, and this is, quantum mechanics and physics, in such a way that action is always minimized. Everything in the universe, a pulsar is about to send out a gamma ray. Right? Or a supernova is about to explode. So in that, all of that, they find a way to minimize. Right? It's not only our kids, so we want to study and we want to study for a minimum amount of time. But understand, it's not shirking. It's not like, oh, I don't want to do my work. You have to go from A point to B point, right? There's no avoiding that. But nature has a beautiful way to minimize action. Please think on this. minimize action. Right? I saw a meme on Facebook that said if, being rich depended upon working hard, then every woman in Africa would be a millionaire. These women, they work so hard. They look after the family. They have to walk miles to get water sometimes. Right? They don't have the money to even feed everybody, every meal. So hard work, as we are seeing, does not equal to success. Like, oh, look at me, I put out 2,000 odd videos on YouTube. I have not figured out the way, and do I have our 23K subscribers? So obviously I've done so much work, but I've not figured out how to activate the minimizing principle. So this is a very important thing for us to even be aware of, that nature finds the most efficient way to do something. If nature finds this path, then why can't we, right? The most efficient way, and this is what sadhana is, what upasana is, to help you find the most efficient way to get from A point to B point. Right? Now, as I said, that action on our behalf and maximizing action, minimizing action, what we think of action, what we perceive action, do we understand only kinetic energy as action? Do we also take into consideration the potential energy? So these questions are important, right? Because how we define a particular thing, that is the truth to us, and that is what we experience. So there, nature, again, one more time for those that joined late, nature prefers to minimize actions. The conservation theory. Here we are, we want to just expand, we think of the Kardashev scale, and we think of, harnessing the power of the sun, then harnessing the power of the solar system, and then harnessing the power of the galaxy, right? Building dystopian Dyson spheres around, harnessing planets, just because we are greedy for energy. We want to power our smartphones, we want to power our, whatever. We are energy hungry. So in that quest, we are thinking of the Kardashev scale and how we can expand. But then, is such an expansion really necessary? Because when you think about, we can mine the planets in the solar system, right? The first Kardashev civilization is one such civilization that has been able to adapt the primary star's power, adapt and use it, right? Which we still haven't done, right? We are not solar. So we've not even reached that basic level in Kardashev. And then imagine us being able to harness the planets in the solar system. We'd go digging into Jupiter. We'd go digging into Saturn. We'd go digging into Uranus and Neptune, and they have seas of liquid diamond, by the way. So can you imagine that kind of avariciousness? We want diamond, the bigger, the better. So what is the point then? Solar system, maybe, I don't support it, but think of the entire galaxy. Mining, churning, building Dyson spheres. I mean, where's that going to take us really? Do we really need all these things? Do we really need to be so opulent, to have every single thing and deny other people in other parts of the world who don't have access to it? Why? Because maybe they come from a different culture that did not win. So this is very important, these questions. That's why I thought of bringing up Lagrangian mechanics, because here the question is not only about distance, the question is also about perfect time. You know, the distance from A to B, maybe this is a straight line, but what if in the middle there's a murky part and I get caught in it, right? And then I lose time. Is that straight line, the least distance, is it still relevant to me? And this action principle, that is the most fundamental principle, is motion. Now, does this mean that only Mars is the action principle? That nowhere in the galaxy or in the multiverse structure, no other planet can represent the action principle? No. Every conscious star system, right? Every star system, like our solar system, even if it's, say, a binary, okay, or tertiary system, in that, if of course there's the observer, the human life, like biological carbon-based life forms like us, to ponder upon our own pale blue dot, right? But that is not the point. The point is that in any system, tertiary, binary, single, beautiful little simulation that the sun is running, there will always be a Mars. There will always be a Venus. There will always be a Saturn. There will always be a Jupiter. So as I was telling you about this action and this fundamental primordial action principle, it's connected to karma. And Mars, in its very esoteric sense, is heavily connected to karma. Yeah, Saturn is the guy that wears the big badge, karma, you know. But Mars, who we think of as, you know, sex, wars, you know, robbery, rape, of course, and such ghastly, horrible things, or the libido, purely. No, Mars has a lot to do with karma. Because this fundamental principle of you know, least action that the physicists are not now talking about, this particularly pertains to karma. For there is no action without karma. So in other planetary, you know, other sun systems, there will always be the Mars, the action principle. And the action at thank you. And the action that we talk about on a deeper level is connected to karma. I am simply here in front of you. It's because it is my karma to be here, to tell you all these things. Why would you want to hear about Lagrangian mechanics from a, you know, spiritual channel? It's because it's very important to correlate as to what science is telling us, what history is teaching us, the new findings, what linguistic studies are revealing. For they hold the keys to the mystery. Understand? That is the key to the mystery. And we can't avoid that. We need to delve straight into it. Which is why I thought that if nature and the cosmos finds a way to minimize action, then we should do, right? And this particular thing that I just spoke about, that the minimization of action is the Lagrangian mechanics. And when you talk about this, we consider energies here, not momentum, right? Not momentum. We understand action is very intricate, so try and understand it. When we think of action, we think of momentum. But action has subtle layers of meanings. So, and those subtle layers are connected to karma. So we are actually doing a Martian, a dialectical discourse on karma, right? And now, so when you think of the principle of least action, right? And thank you. Right? When you think about, this is a universal law, right? Principle of least action. Now look at orbits of the planets, right? Mercury, no, I didn't. I didn't. I am actually a literature major with philosophy, sociology, psychology, and I have not. I was always rather poor at math and rather scared of science and chemistry and all of this. So this, as I was going deeper into my spiritual practice, I felt the need to understand the physical world. And of course, what I'm saying is kind of rudimentary and a very beginner's level. But I'm just grateful that in this lifetime, because of YouTube, because of some videos that I watched, I was able to delve into this. Otherwise, in any other lifetime, no internet, where would I open up a book about that? And yes, we all have our YouTube favorite videos, and mine is actually my favorite YouTube channel, right? Is that Australian channel called Space Time. And I think the guy who hosts it is called Matt. And I absolutely love that channel, and very, very nice host. So he does speak about the principle of least action and Lagrangian mechanics, and it was kind of, that's, yes, very, very interesting. Space, time. Now, another thing is gravity. What is gravity? One of the 4 fundamental forces, right? And gravity is responsible for the bending of space-time, right? This is purely Newtonian. We know that, and we studied this in school. Now, when we think of the bending, how a planet travels around the sun, take Mercury, for example, right? And when, cosmologists studied it, they did find that Mercury actually moves around in the most efficient orbit. Uranus lies in a 90-degree declination like that, it's lying down, Uranus. So there must be somehow Uranus manages to minimize momentum, or, As I said, planetary karmas are huge. We think of them as just huge rocks floating in the depth of space. But that is not what they are. They are conscious. They are alive, as you and me are. And when I always tell my students that we always want blessings from the planets. Like, oh planets, bless us. Oh planet, this has happened, that has happened. But what if a planet needs your love and your blessings, right? So one cell, right, can cause cancer in our bodies. So maybe the cell is trying to stay healthy to keep the body functioning. Are we aware of what cells think? And everything is conscious, which is why we do puja, upasana, mantra. Everything is conscious. So this is something that's very interesting. Mercury does keep up with this universal law of principle of least action. Now, let us think of action, all right, on a deeper level. You can take out your journal and write and journal with this. So what is the nature of action, right? What do we perceive as action? How much time is perceived by the observer in their own frame of reference? So here I have to do 444 tarpans. So as I'm going on, Om Ring 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 Long Gangravate Varavada Sarvadalam Mevashvaniye Swaha Tarpayami Namaha. So how do I understand that the action is being fulfilled? By the ticking of the clock. The clock reminds me. Like if you don't eat the whole day. If we say there's a body clock. We don't eat the whole day, right? We forget. Your body will remind you. Try not sleeping. You know? So, there's that, right? We perceive it because of time. Now, what do we understand by proper time in classical physics? So, once you look at a photon of light traveling from A point to B point, you will see that the photon of light minimizes the time traveled. So again, like I had to go from A point to B point, right? In a straight line. I can go like that, I can go like that. There's so many ways. Think of two dots, right? Two dots. And draw a straight line. That's the least action line, right? See this, right? But there's a line like that, there's a line like that, there's a line like that, there's a line like that. So, nature tends to minimize not only the distance, light for instance, without an entity without mass, takes into consideration the time spent as well. Again, light has to pass through, say light has to go under the sea. So the way the light will fall, and some of it of course refracts, which is a different phenomena which we are not talking about, when light penetrates water. It penetrates water slowly, much slower than what it does out in the land, right? Out in land. So that aspect, water will, once light goes deep in and penetrates, it will find the, not only least distance, it doesn't look at distance at that point, it looks at time. Maybe if I go from here to there, I will get caught in there and I'll spend more time. So if I go from there, I'll reach quicker. If I do 1,000 japas without any feeling, I may get certain benefits. If I sit in Padmasana, apply the correct mudra, do my pranayam, then do the mantra, you may think that, oh my God, that's so much dang work. You have to feel calm, do pranayam, sit in an asana, then do all these mudras, breathe correctly, then start mantra. Like what? Might as well I just sit anywhere and just do the mantra, you know. Om Gangadi Shaya anytime. No, that to you may appear like a shortcut. Like, oh, quick, I'll get there. But no, you're going to get caught in the murky bits. And your feet will sink in those murky bits. And you'll take more time. So, what is smart? You chill your mind, take a sip of water, hydrate yourself, hydrate your hands with some organic oil, sit down, you know, apply a mudra, whatever mudra works for you, right? And then take 10 pranayam. If you can't do anulom vilom, no problem. You just take in the breath, hold it as long as possible, slowly exhale. Do this 10 times. And then do one mala japa. And see the difference of doing 10 malas without centering yourself and one mala by centering yourself. So here you're thinking about that, oh my God, I'm going to spend so much time doing that. No, you've saved time. You've been efficient, just like nature, just like the cosmos. Efficiency in action. It may look to you like that's a really long, drawn out thing. Is it? What if you don't do it? What are the repercussions to that? So action is intricately interwoven into the fabric of karma. So if you do not understand karma, you will never understand the principle of least action. And then you're just going to go about your life without understanding the beauty of this. a carbon-based biological life form in one spiral arm of the Sagittarius system, on a little pale blue dot, which is about to, be overpopulated and it's polluted anyway. Then you are pondering about action, how to take action, how to not only minimize the distance, but how to minimize time. Overall efficiency depends on correct action. Are you ready to be overall efficient? Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's absolutely okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. The normal astrological update will follow right now with Mars. But I'm asking you to go a little deep, right? A little deep. For eclipse season, I mean, when is a better time to go deep, right? We are also stressed. Oh my God, the eclipse is coming. But do we think about the sun and the moon? Once the sun and the moon have to meet together and come together and resolve all the problems. And they have to merge their energies. And then 15 days later, bam, they have to oppose each other. Do you think it's easy for them? I mean, it's possibly a bit of both, a bittersweet symphony. That is life, right? But think about that. That the planets also, oh my God, an eclipse is coming. The sun was all, getting hyper. The solar eclipse went. Now the moon's all hyper, right? The moon's like, oh my God, again, one more eclipse. Right? Full moon eclipse. So there. Now, a good time to go deep is what I'm saying. Good time to go deep. Now, okay. So, when we think about in classical mechanics, what is travel time, right? Light is minimizing it, and kinetic energy minus potential energy is what we understand as action in bodies with mass, like I said. Proper time and time are the same. There is no conflict. But do you know that there's actually a huge question in the mind of the cosmologist that is this infinite? The moon may, like, it's like me asking you, Rochelle, do you think about the cells in your body a lot? Do you think about them a lot? I mean, yeah, okay, maybe when it pains, you're like, oh, or you do some EFT tap therapy, you do some Bij mantra there. Or, if something looks nice, you're like, oh, it's nice, right? You get your nails done and you're like, nice. Or say you are playing the cello and you look at your fingers and you play the cello and, so you're looking, interacting with that hand, with that. So yeah, the moon is like that. She's interacting with us, of course. But it's not like how I would think of my daughter. Although we are her children. Moon symbolizes us, actually. The sun symbolizes people in power or kings. The moon symbolizes common people, normal, ordinary people going about their lives, trying to do the best, trying to, hold each other up, just trying to, go through life. So the moon is kind of like us. That's why, in Vedic astrology, moon is equated with the common masses, right? So when we think about, and I just told you something, that proper time and time are same in classical mechanics. But when we take this to the quantum level, there is a discrepancy. And why? It is because of the double slit experiment, right? Everybody knows about the double slit experiment. Who the bleep? What the bleep, right? What the bleep? Yeah. So basically, two slits, start bombarding them with photons, and then what do you see? You see that the photons pass through the slit, and what comes to your mind? principle of least action. So what should happen, right? Right in front of the slit, the point, the slit pattern is the least distance. So hello, automatically you will perceive that all of the photons are going to sit on that, right? On that particular slit where the slit is open. But this doesn't happen. Not unless there's an observer. Again, has to do with karma, has to do with the observer. If you are not there in the middle of a forest in Amazon and a tree drops, does it make a sound? If there are no ears to perceive it? Will the simulation play on if there are no observers? This is very interesting because in the double slit experiment, the principle of least action is only followed. That means the photons become particles only when there is an observer. When there is no observer, the photons form an interference pattern, right? A wave function. So this is so interesting. We think of time and proper time and everything is thrown out of, and we think of this, principle of least action, and everything is thrown out of the window the minute you put in the observer. Similarly, we can get angry, we can shout, we can scream, we can hurt someone, we can stab someone. But the minute we operate as the observer in our own life, that's when the whole equation changes. That's why, what is the first way to lead a more spiritual life? Observe yourself. You're not this body. You're not this mouth talking. You're not this sari. You're not these written notes in front. You're everything and nothing. Right? So, there are so many shades to meaning, so many shades to perception, so many shades to understanding, that it's crazy that we can even talk to each other, right? Because we experience the world in our minds, right? So it's kind of like the brain in the vat. It's pretty complicated to explain to someone your particular experience. Okay, two people go through something traumatic. Experience can, a bad experience can bring two people closer. But a tragedy can also break people apart. You see couples that lose children are oftentimes unable to maintain that relationship. Dissolution is imminent. So many points of views, so many different ways of looking at the world. Someone saying, how Steve Jobs and Bill Gates kind of popularized this action, least action principle. They understood Lagrangian mechanics, right? They're working with quantum computers anyway. So they understood that. That's why the tech billionaires have a saying that is not about working hard. It's about working smart. Now you got to work. As I said, from point A to point B, you got to go, man. There's no hyperloop. But how you get there? And I am not saying you have to get there in a cutthroat way, or I'm gonna sleep my way to the top, I wanna be popular, none of that. I mean action, the most fundamental level. So you got to understand the efficiency of your action. And how will you get that? One simple way, question yourself. As Timothy Leary said, question authority. Sure. But question yourself, what about the authority in you? What about your authority? Have you questioned that? Do you regularly, introspect? Why did I act like that? Why? Okay, if I believe this about this particular thing, why do I believe this? You know? Have you tried sorting through that mind palace? It's very interesting. You should do it. So this quantum wave function is based on a random selection. So this conflict in the classical understanding in the quantum world is particles should reach only central point. I told you where the slit is. Bam, bam, bam. That's where the particle should be sitting. But without an observer, no particles go in that way. They form an interference pattern only through the observer. So this is very, very important, all right? Now, this is, in mathematical terms, this is known as path integral. Again, another very interesting concept to understand when we talk about action. Now, in a sense, this path integral lines up with the principle of least action, right? So time determinism and distance determinism, space-time. Einstein kind of, clubbed them both together. Before, space was thought of as different, time was thought of as different, but space-time, the bending of space-time is gravity, right? Now, in the quantum world, the particles take the shortest path through the configuration space. There's a configuration space. This is very important. All possible configurations of space, of possible positions, right? And what do? If we take, and I don't mean overthinking. I'm not trying to say you have to overthink everything or, go really deep inside the 10. You have to draw, you have to, have a vision board, top 10 options and, have like little sketches and drawings. No, you don't. You don't need to doodle on it either. All I'm saying is think of this, that don't try to sky even distance, because ultimately, even if you're taking a longer route, you are possibly saving time. Many incarnations, baby, it's not going to end. It's infinite. You keep adding, individually, collectively, right? Now, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Again, something that we all know about action. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is why I always said that Mars is so connected to karma, actually. And we just don't see it. Like Saturn is connected to karma, Jupiter, of course, Sun, very, very heavily. But you have to understand, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Hello, that is the definition of karma. Watch the videos. This is not a discussion on that topic, is it? So watch the videos. From the above discussion, we can infer that the fastest path may not take, may not take the least time. This is something to think about. Causality, determinism, they're one fixed concept. And when Mars is retrograde, I think it's a great time to dig through all of this debris, go through all of this, sift through all of this, right? What's happening? What is happening right now with Mars going retrograde? So, one sign, Mars is in one sign or one Rashi for 10 days, for 45 days. A month and a half, right? Now, starting today, Mangal will be 5 months in this Rashi, Taurus. And Mars always goes retrograde either from the 5th, 6th, 8th or 9th house from the Sun. So do Jupiter and Saturn actually. Now, if we have aspects with Saturn or Rahu, which we do, square or a trine, then the year will be fraught with disturbances, which we will see this year. It's going to get, we are seeing, and this Ukraine thing and this war, it's going to get amplified. It's fundamentalism, racism, all of this is going to rear its ugly head one more time. Entered a Taurus, where it will stay 10th of August. So that was an important day to mark in your calendar, 10th of August. And we'll move into Gemini after everything, 16th of October. Now, before the retrograde, there is the shadow or the Manda period, right? And in the, of course, direct 12th of January, and enters Gemini. From that 1 degree it started retrograding. Will enter Gemini again 12th of March. So this is 5 long months of Mars retrograde. 5 long months. And so this is last few months of 2022. And this is a very dangerous time, actually. And of course, Mars was in Angaraka Yoga this whole time, Angarak Yoga. And now the retrograde Mars will be in Trikona for Saturn and Capricorn, from Saturn and Capricorn. Trikona, trine, okay? Taurus to Capricorn is a trine, right? And Saturn right now is in Dhanishta. This particular scenario with, Mars going retrograde in Taurus with a trine from Saturn and Capricorn, this is pretty bad for wealthy people, the super elite, especially people who have made money during the coronavirus crisis. All right, it's going to be pretty hard for many rulers, leaders, very wealthy people who've harnessed a lot of, dark money. They are going to feel this. And wealth fluctuations will be there for all of us actually. Now Mars starts as retrograde in Mrigashira. And this particular motion is known as Ashimusalam Mukha. And according to Brihad Samhita, it gives fear from a band of robbers, drought, war in the country. And there'll be, because Taurus is India's ascendant, so this is going to be a time of great changes in the Indian landscape. And mark my words, there could be some kind of death or a scandal in the central government. And also the Prime Minister may face a lot of criticism. People suddenly may turn against him, and there'll be, wasteful spending on different things. India is going to go through a pretty turbulent time right now. So that, and I have a strong feeling that this particular time with this eclipse and this Mars retrograde time, it's going to be hard for the central government, BJP government, all right? As I said, I'm not BJP, I'm not Congress, I'm not into politics, not interested. But this is what it felt like. I also looked at some other charts, and this is what it feels like, that there will be a public, outcry when it comes to the BJP. Something will piss the people off. Some scandals, like Rajiv Gandhi was going all great guns, and then Bofors completely took him out. So scandal like that can be pretty hard hitting for Narendra Modi at this point. Also, I think it might have to do with illegal spy softwares like Pegasus integration with Telegram and WhatsApp in India. So there's going to be something where I see that there'll be some kind of death or scandal in the central government, with a lot of, opponents speaking up, and a lot of conflict will go around right now all over the world. But yeah, in India I see that a lot. Taurus is our rising. So Yeah, right? Now, Mercury and Jupiter are 150 degrees apart. This is a very inauspicious angle. And Mercury has entered Swati on October 30th, today. And Sunday, Venus is in Vishakha. Now, this is going to be pretty inauspicious, this 150 degrees. Whatever houses Mercury, Jupiter rule for you, they're always in opposition. Their exaltations, their placements, aspects, so much has to be taken into consideration when you look at this. Now, Mars is going to be out of bounds, right? Out of the declination, not visible to the naked eye. And last time Mars retrograde happened here in Taurus was late 1975 to 76. That was before my birth, so I have no idea. And before that, this Mars retrograde for such a long period, because one sign Mars stays for 45 days. So here it is there for 5 months. That's unnatural, right? Absolutely unnatural. So that's going to be a problem, let's face it. And whatever house Taurus is for you, whatever planets are there, how is Venus placed? What is happening in the D9 chart? What are the Lal Kitab remedies? All of this you have to think of. It's a very important time to get a consultation, all right? And to figure out your position for the next 6 months. Don't be like, oh, I want to know what I'm going to do for 2 years. Let me plan 2 years. No. Start off with a month. Jump to 2 months. 3, 4, then 6. 6 is solid. Really, no need to plan beyond that. And I never plan beyond that. Okay, what am I going to do in 6 months? This is what I'm going to do. These are the videos. These are the books. This is the write-up. This is the amount of articles I have to write for the blog. 6 months. You have to know what you want to do for 6 months. And that is pretty decent, if you ask me the truth. Pretty decent. Are we, okay, where are we? Yeah. So there's tons of stuff I've channeled for you guys. So let's get straight to it. And before that, when Mars was retrograde in this particular spot, was in 43 and 44 during World War II. So you get what I'm saying, right? World War, kind of like, I hate that word. Ukraine is gonna be so, like, I don't know, America may get involved. These times are going to be fraught with violence, tension, conflict, allergies, pitta dosha, all kinds of pitta dosha. RX at 1 degree Gemini. This is also very symbolic. So there's a Sandhi happening, the twilight zone, when poor Mars has to tread back all the way into Taurus from that 1 degree Gemini, that Sandhi period, that midpoint. It's always problematic. This will impact world politics today, warfare, economy, military spending, military posturing, terrorism. Okay, different kinds of cyber attacks. Taurus, stock market, money. Venus is, Venus ruled Taurus. It's all about money, like stuff like that. So financial panic, bank failures, depletion of resources of the government due to involvement in wars or misspending, miscalculation, chit scams, hedge fund scams, hedge fund scams, right? Now, governments will spend wastefully. Welcome. That's also an astrological update. Isn't that the norm? Yeah. So governments are going to spend wastefully. That's going to piss people off. Global energy systems can fail. Food shortage, fuel shortage, all of this is going to plague us pretty big. So I guess we've all got to come together and understand more about resources, what's important, what can we do without. Okay, minimalism. And there'll be a disruption of the supply chain somewhere, right? Water also. Now, Rohini, the main asterism for Rohini is Aldebaran. And Aldebaran is conjunct Mars on September 5th to 9th, 2022, which we already faced. And again, Jan 25th to Feb 8th, 2023. So this Aldebaran conjunction may be favorable. On one hand, it will be for science, technology, finance, but it portends danger, violence, collective sickness, COVID can spread, mass panic, stampede, fire breaking out, like we had in Notre Dame, right? Fire breaking out. Things like that, band of robbers, political, financial crises, and disasters, natural and man-made. I see a cyclone coming somewhere in West Bengal, China. There'll be some kind of earthquake happening in this Pan-Asia region. As I said, complicado, it's not going to be easy. Now, the Sandhi period, let's talk about that. First weeks. So, today, Mars went into Sandhi, proper retrograded back. So, the Sandhi period ideally started, say, 7 days before and will stay 7 days after. So, this last week that we just faced, today being Sunday, wrapping up this week. And the next week, we will feel this Sandhi, this twilight zone energy. Welcome to the twilight zone, right? And now, this is it. Welcome to the twilight zone. This is what's going to happen this Sandhi period. And can be exceptionally difficult. Skin problems, period-related complication, uterine complication. I would also suggest not to attempt procreation right now. Don't try to conceive a child right now, all right? It's difficult. Now, Mars activates Manipura chakra. So, what are the chakras? Swadhisthana, Ajna, Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura. This is the Manipura chakra, all right? We have Swadhisthana and we have Mooladhara. Fire element, and Bij mantra is Ram. Ram, Ram, solar plexus. And it is, the Manipura is actually the body's storehouse of energy, ki, prana. And during this particular retrograde, we can feel powerless, stagnant, quick to anger, vindictive, possessive, jealous, high sexual appetite, insatiable appetite, stuff like that. Be careful. So some may be diagnosed at this time with diabetes, issues with the pancreas, liver disease, colon disease, chronic tiredness and fatigue. Okay, many undiagnosed, like say you feel sick or you have a pain and no one can tell you why you have that pain. And I've read up on this. There have been so many cases of women especially who have experienced pain in a particular part of their body and then no one has taken them seriously. And then finally they were either, put in loony bins or institutionalized or something like that because their pain could not be diagnosed. So there are many such diseases that people will be afflicted with at this time, and inability of doctors to diagnose it correctly. Like today is not a day to go looking for medicine. So you've got a particular ailment and you go looking for medicine. Today is not a good day for that. Alright? Try not to leave your house today. So this can happen. Now pranayam. What are the pranayams with this? Kapalbhati, which I've told you. Sit in Padmasana Sukhasana, and then ground, drop your Mooladhara, ground, and then Ajna Chakra. You can pinch your Ajna Chakra a bit, like that, and then Kapalbhati. Okay, and you have to do this repeatedly for like maybe 2-3 minutes, then stop, take a deep breath, start again Kapalbhati, again take a deep breath, start again Kapalbhati, alright, like that. Dhanurasana, the bow pose, which is you lie down, and I mean I do the bow pose every day. You lie down on your stomach and then you put your hands like that and try to hold your feet up like that. It's like a bow, alright? I'll try to do a picture or a small video and show you. Alright, this is a very interesting one. This is the Rudra Mudra, alright? Rudra Mudra. This Rudra Mudra can be applied like that with pranayam. How do you do pranayam? Take a deep breath, hold it, and hold it as long as you can, and then exhale. Not from your mouth, from your nose. Got it? Right? And always the center is Ajna Chakra. So that's why I say that when you are doing any kind of pranayam or mantra, it's best to have sandalwood paste like this. And then, oh, I didn't see that. Alright. Okay. So it's good to do this, because when you're doing, when you're concentrating on your Ajna Chakra, it's not easy, right? It's not easy. You're thinking all these thoughts. Let me show you how. I'll just put a tilak on myself and show you how you do this, all right? Now, maybe it's gonna work, right? Okay. Now we need a drop more because we have a very little bit. Right. And then you just apply this like that. Nicely. And it's not for, fashion or anything. It is to bind. When I say bind, may not be the best word. You think of binding and then you think of, so many negative associations with it. So all it does is it keeps the Ajna Chakra active. So all you need to do is just make sure you fill this one up. Okay, I messed it up, right? But you get it, right? This is your Ajna Chakra. So the point of this is it binds your Ajna Chakra. Also, when it's drying there, it helps you focus on that particular area. So if you're breathing, you're doing pranayam, like I told you that Rudra Mudra. You can do Rudra Mudra. All right. Now, if you have any complication with doing pranayam and you feel breathless, then all you need to do is deep breathe. So, a deep breathe and observe that breath. So, hold and then Okay, this will balance your breath. And best to do this with a tika. Why? Because it's forcing you to look at the Ajna Chakra. This is also very powerful practice. Looking at it, you see? So that doing these practices will greatly, like I said to you, it may appear like, oh my God, there's just so much. Hello, there's just so much to do. I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, because you're minimizing, maybe not distance, you're minimizing time. So remember that, okay? So Manipura chakra. Manipura is here. Keep that in mind. That's the Manipura chakra. And Dhanurasana and Bhairava Mudra, okay, Bhairav Mudra, which is very, very nice. And it is very easy. This is the Bhairav Mudra. Apply this on the Manipura, right? Right here is your Manipura chakra. Feel it. You can even take a little dot of sandalwood and apply it to your Manipura. And then, same way, here. Yeah, right hand on top, and then keep on Manipur, and Mars is associated to Bagalamukhi, which I'll get into. And for those that are not initiated in Shakta Tantra, Ganpati balances all Navagraha. So, sitting like this, Gang, 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 gang. If you've not been initiated, don't say gang, say gum. Gum, 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 gum. Alright? Bhairav Mudra and Manipura Chakra and gum. You can try. Now, Mars is out of bound from October 23rd until May 5th. And this is deadly because it's like Mars on steroid, right? It's like Mars on steroid. So there. Extraordinary passion, courage, energy, independence, also anger, anger, like I said. All right, I guess we successfully managed to complete Mars update, but I did have a little bit on Haritra Ganapati and I think I have lost a page. Okay, so worship of Bagalamukhi at this point is, I'm going to be launching those classes, and it's going to be, I just wrote out so much on Bagalamukhi and now I can't seem to find it. The class that I was going to introduce actually. Maybe in the next video I am going to get there and explain to you guys all about the sadhana that I'll be offering. So Bagalamukhi sadhana is what I'm offering during Mars retrograde, and Bagalamukhi is none other than Varahi. Like I told you, she's none other than Varahi or Sri Vidya. Her beej is Ling, Ling, or Ling, Ling, and if you're not a Shakta Tantra person, then you should worship Haridra Ganapati. Okay, the turmeric colored Ganapati, because he is the Ganapati. And actually Bagalamukhi worship may not be the thing for you, because it is not for everybody, but Haridra Ganapati worship is indeed very good for any and everybody. All the students that have taken Diksha in Ganapati Vidya, definitely Uchishta Ganpati or Ekakshara Ganpati or Mahaganpati Tarpan. All of you guys can definitely think of Haridra Ganapati. I had written a beautiful mantra of Haridra Ganapati, alright, which I was gonna share with you guys, but now it's a bit too late and I can't seem to find that. No, is it there? No. And this is the Bagalamukhi Yantra. So, this is establishing a Bagalamukhi Yantra in your home, gold-plated, is very powerful. And of course, just saying Hurling, 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 Hurling can be very powerful. Or Om Hurling is also okay. Or Om Hurling Bagalamukhin Sarvadushtanang Vachang Mukhang Padang Samvyo Juhang Kilaya Kilaya Buddhing Nashaya Hurling Om Swaha. Alright, there are many prayogas. Bagalamukhi is the Devi. Mars is Dasha Mahavidya, and during a Mars retrograde period, there is no better Devi to worship than Varahi or Bagalamukhi. And during this time, best Ganpati to be worshipped is Haridra Ganpati. Uchishta Ganpati is okay, but I'm talking to people who want to intensify their knowledge of Tantra and how to work with Ganpati. Yeah, okay, you know how to work with Uchishta Ganpati or Mahaganpati. But it's like saying that I like you, my friend, and I'd only want to see you in these two roles. What are the other roles that your friend may have, right? So I'm interested in all his 32 forms. And I, at any given point, Uchishta Ganpati, Mahaganpati, I always do, who we call in Sri Vidya Vallabha Ganpati. But other than that, I am interested in every single Ganpati. Hedamba Ganpati is one of my absolute favorites. Veera Ganpati. So this is the time to kind of like get to know more about Ganesha. And my book on Sri Vidya is coming up. So you have to pre-book at $13, and it won't be a huge book because it's an intro to the subject matter, and there'll be a lot of good tips, what to do, what not to do, stuff like that. All right. Hello. All right. So Haridra Ganapati worship, Bagalamukhi worship, just Ganapati worship. This is the way to keep that Mars energy in balance. Because believe me, otherwise Mars energy can be completely out of whack. Completely out of whack at this time. And I'm feeling strange. Hello. And I'm feeling rather strange. Like really weird, like, you know, and I was just cleaning my house and repeatedly today. So this is also a very important thing, cleaning your surroundings. If you have companion animals, clean them, trim them right now. If you have children, make sure you check their ears, check their, whatever, check their poop to see, because Mars is also excretion. So at this stage, like I said, that, irritable bowel syndrome can happen, as well as, for men, erectile dysfunctions can happen. All right? Erectile dysfunctions can happen. Best don't try to conceive children right now. All right? Don't try to conceive children. But it could also bring back people. Retrogrades always bring back people from the past. So if Mars is like, owner of the 5th house or sitting in the 5th house, You can have a romance from the past, or something like that can happen. And Saturn's already applying that trine now. So, and Mars is in that Sandhi period, the twilight zone. So yeah. Now, if I can, I will go live again in a little bit. But actually, I might as well do the live with this because I want to bring the eclipse update. So if somebody would be kind enough to put it over there and say eclipse update. Now if I find that Haritra Ganapati mantra I had sorted out for you guys, then I will make a separate quick short video on that. So okay, let's get started with this eclipse thing also. Is Kali Shakti there, or any of my students here? If you're there, please make a timestamp, okay? 1:20:48. This is when the eclipse update starts. So we are experiencing now, the eclipse gateway is open. We've just had the Swati eclipse, and now we are about to have an eclipse in Bharani Nakshatra, the second nakshatra. Bharani is entirely in Aries, ruled by Mars. And Aries is ruled by Mars, Bharani is ruled by Venus. So this is a combination of Mars and Venus, the male and the female. And this particular nakshatra is a nakshatra of Yama, the Lord of Death. Alright, Yama, the Lord of Death. And this particular nakshatra, the symbol, yes. I guess we'll have to do it with the comments. I guess I'll have to pin the comment, because then, and I will change the name after that. Okay. It's in Bharani, right? Bharani Nakshatra. And when I say Bharani Nakshatra, I mean that it is such a, one second. I was just trying something and seeing that which mudra is going to be the best with this meditation, because this is a very serious eclipse, all right? Very serious eclipse that's happening. It's a total lunar eclipse, and it's in Bharani. Right, and I'm not allowed to show all the Sri Vidya mudras. Suddenly it's a picture somewhere, it's abstract, but with the body and in front of the Medu. Also doing it somewhere else, it's okay, but in front of the Medu, I'm not allowed to do that. So the thing with this is that it is the place of Yama, the Lord of the underworld. And today I will tell you a little story about Yama and his wife, Ghumorni. Alright, Ghumorna actually. And I'll also tell you a very special remedy on how to please Yamraj. And who needs to please Yamraj? People who have ill health, or they may be afraid that someone could hurt them in any way. Alright guys, I think I will have to do the eclipse update in another video, because I'm suddenly started to feel woozy, and as you see I can't put on my AC or anything because it just gets so hot. So see you in about 5-10 minutes. Alright, it's still going there, and see you.